Those jokes I laughed at because of her, her way of delivering them, but I really didn't even understand some of them until I got older. And so I just thought I would do a couple of, 2 or 3 of them today for you so that it would save it for my children and grandchildren. And there was this one about a traveling salesman, and he was out in the middle of nowhere in pumpkin growing country, and all of a sudden he had to use the bathroom. So, whoa, he stopped the car, he jumped across the fence into that pumpkin patch, took the top off of that pumpkin and filled it full. Got back in his car and drove away. But a couple of months later, he had to be back on that same route, and his conscience was killing him. So he stopped at the local general store, and there were all these old guys sitting around with the corncob pipes, and when he told him what he had done, one of them got up, ran to this phone and rang it up like this, and he says, "Hey, Fry, this is Si. That's our shit in our pumpkin pie." All right, I hope you enjoyed it. We'll move on to the traveling sales lady, okay? And I guess these are jokes that my grandma understood because they were back in these days where they had to depend on these traveling salespeople. But this traveling sales lady, it was late at night, and so she stopped at this one big old country house where it had about 5 big old grown country boys there, and asked if she could spend the night. And the mama told her, she said, "Yeah, you can spend the night, but don't you mess with any of these boys while you're here." Well, they looked pretty good because that's traveling sales lady, and before the night was over, she had pulled each one of them in there and had sex with them and told them to use the thing my grandma called a rubber. And so she left the next morning, and it was about almost a day later. These big old guys was out in the field with a hoe, and man, they were in a bad mood. And one of them took this hoe and he threw it down, and he says, "I don't care if she does get pregnant. I'm taking this thing off and peeing." Corny, huh? Well, anyway, the other joke my grandma told me was about this wealthy lady, and the chauffeur didn't show up to drive her that day, and so she had to take the city bus. And so here she is, big old buxom thing with the pearls choking her, and she gets on the bus and looks around like, oh God, she didn't want to be there. And all of a sudden, the bus stops, they pick up this drunk, and the drunk comes over, plops himself down next to her, and she looks at him and she says, "I smell something." And he looked at her so happy, and he says, "Yeah, I think the conductor farted." She said, "I didn't get on this bus to be insulted." He said, "I didn't either," said, "and if he shits, we'll both get off." That's it. Thank you for watching. I'm leaving it.
Yeah, look.
No, I'm just out of the screen.
Good. Because we need to break it up into shorter things, okay?
I messed up on that down.